All right, strap in, everyone, because this deep dive, this one is going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready.
You want to explore a world where Donald Trump wins the 2024 election.
Let's do it.
All right, I am totally in. We got this article. Congress certifies Trump 2024 victory 4 years after Capitol riot. And the date on it, get this, January 6th, 2025.
Wow.
4 years to the day after that January 6th Capitol riot, and Trump is back in the Oval Office.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting to me is that this isn't just like, oh, Trump won. It implies such a chain of events, right? Like, what had to happen in those 4 years for America to elect him again?
Exactly. Did the Republican Party just completely morph into, like, Trump's image?
Yeah.
What kind of policies were they championing that maybe swayed voters back?
I think we have to consider their stance on a lot of the issues that were front and center during his first term and then also in the aftermath, right? So, like, did they double down on things like immigration restrictions, or what about trade tariffs? Did those policies resonate with voters in a way that they didn't anticipate back in 2020?
And what about the Democrats? Did they miss the mark somewhere? Were they just too focused on certain issues and alienated a portion of their base?
It's possible. Maybe they struggled to connect with voters in key swing states. Or perhaps their platform didn't address certain economic anxieties that people were feeling. And we can't forget the global context either. Imagine if there was a major international incident, like maybe a cyber attack blamed on a hostile nation close to the election. That could very easily shift public opinion toward a leader who's perceived as strong on national security. Right?
Oh, okay. That is a really good point. Now, this article says Congress certifies the victory.
Mm.
That wording feels loaded to me, like were there attempts to contest the results, legal battles, recounts, anything like that?
Oh, almost certainly. I think the phrasing suggests a scenario where the election was incredibly tight, maybe even closer than 2020. Imagine multiple states going through recounts, lawsuits are flying around, and the whole thing just drags on for weeks.
And Congress still certifies Trump's win. Despite all of that, man, that paints a picture of a country that is just like on a knife's edge. Talk about a blow to faith in the system.
Absolutely. You'd have this massive portion of the population who feel like their votes don't count, like the system is rigged against them. The political divide would be so much deeper than ever, with each side viewing the other as an existential threat.
And just looming over all of this is the memory of the Capitol riot.
Yeah.
How could anyone forget that? What kind of reaction do you think there would be to Trump's return, knowing what we know about what happened on January 6, 2021?
I mean, it's impossible to say for sure, right?
Yeah.
But it's safe to assume that there would be a huge wave of protests.
Right.
The question is, would they remain peaceful? Would the memory of the Capitol riot act as a deterrent, a reminder of how quickly things can spiral? Or would it fuel even more anger and resentment?
So much tension, so much uncertainty. Were there any other big names in this race, in this 2024 race? Anyone challenging Trump from within his own party?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if a more moderate Republican figure emerged, someone who could appeal to those who were disillusioned with Trump, but still aligned with, like, conservative values.
Yeah.
Or maybe even a third-party candidate gained traction, drawing votes away from both Trump and the Democratic nominee.
Okay, so we've gone down this rabbit hole and explored this potential future where Trump, pulls off a second act, a future full of what ifs. A tangled web of political maneuvering, social unrest, global uncertainty. What a trip.
Yeah. I think if we connect this to the bigger picture, right, what this deep dive forces us to think about is the fragility of democracy, the power of social movements, and the long-lasting impact of political events. These things really matter.
Yeah. And for you, listening, think about this. What do you think would be the biggest long-term consequence of a second Trump presidency? This alternate timeline really makes you wonder what forces shape our future and what choices lead us down these different paths.
Absolutely.
It's mind-blowing. All right, everybody, that's our deep dive for today. See you next time.
See you later.